Amazing. Thank you, Zach and Ben, for inviting us. So yeah, I'm Soups. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sardine. Sardine is fraud and compliance API as a service for fintechs and crypto companies. We work with a variety of crypto on-ramps worldwide, crypto exchanges, neobanks, and such on, essentially just preventing fraud and taking care of AML or anti-money laundering compliance for them. And you can essentially think of Sardine as essentially Stripe for high-risk merchants like crypto, NFTs, and cross-border commerce, and even we are working with some cannabis processors as well. So having said that, let me actually just walk you through a quick demo. Let me share my screen. Yeah. So first of all, with Sardine, we, like our team on the founding side, we've had a decade of experience fighting fraud, inside crypto companies and challenger banks. My background is I used to head data science for Coinbase and then later Revolut. My co-founder Aditya, who's on the call, he launched Revolut's US business, and our head of commercials, who's also on the call, Alex. So we realized that one of the biggest things that is sort of missing in this whole fraud prevention space is that the fraudsters are always innovating, and on the fintech and the crypto company side, we haven't been able to keep up with it. So what Sardine we have done is we've really drilled down very deeply into the mindset of a fraudster to understand how they behave, and built a product which will prevent fraud in all sorts of scenarios. So first of all, in this demo, I'll show you from the mindset of a fraudster. If I wanted to create an account at pick any challenger bank, let's say a Chime or a Revolut, or I wanted to buy crypto at a Coinbase, then the first thing I would do is don't want to reveal my own IP address. So I would use a proxy or a VPN. Second thing, I don't want to reveal my own device profile. So I would use some sort of a mobile emulator. And that is what I'm projecting on the screen here, a very popular mobile emulator known as BlueStacks. And the third thing I would do is I would use a stolen identifier that I have bought on the dark web, right? So I'm inside BlueStacks right now. BlueStacks is typically used by kids who don't have a mobile phone to play video games on the laptop. But we have seen that a good 5 to 10% of fraud in our network is actually coming from mobile emulators as well. So with Sardine, we track everything that a customer does while creating an account at a fintech or a crypto company, as in how they type, how they tap, swipe, scroll, move the mouse, etc. So if I'm going through the flow of creating an account, the first thing I would do is I don't want to use my own information, so I'll delete everything that was autofilled by the browser. I will context switch into a spreadsheet where I have some information that I have bought from the dark web. I would use a disposable email and a prepaid phone number. And then let's say I'm connecting a bank account via Plaid, or if I am connecting it just using the micro deposit. So I enter the account number, routing number. And since Sardine is single API for both fraud and compliance, we do both SSN verification as well as part of that same API. But here's the thing: if I am a good customer, I'm very likely to type my information, like name and address, very fast because I type it out of long-term memory. But a fraudster is going to context switch and copy paste or hesitate while typing. We also take care of Aml transaction monitoring, and both on the fiat and the crypto side. So on the crypto side, we have tie-ups with Chainalysis and Coinbase Analytics. So suppose I go through the whole flow and I bought crypto and I'm now withdrawing it to this particular Ethereum address. So now the response that you get. So first of all, we use machine learning, both supervised as well as unsupervised models. So we will tell you that, hey, very high risk customer. The reasons being in this case, one of them being the crypto address that I withdrew to has been tagged by Coinbase Analytics as a scam address. Then the next ones being my email address is disposable. We tap into telcos, so we know who the phone number is registered to. So we tell you that, hey, this is a non-fixed VoIP, which is essentially a prepaid phone registered to bandwidth.com, actually registered under my co-founder's name, which doesn't match which doesn't match the name John Doe that I used here. We also do, the full KYC, which would be sanctions, screening, PEP and SDN checks. PEP stands for politically exposed person, and SDN is suspected designated national. So essentially, is this Snowden or Osama bin Laden signing up? And finally, just the SSN verification as well. But now here's the main thing, which is our sort of USP or secret sauce, so to say. We take a look at the behavior of the customer. As I said, if I won't reveal, if I'm a fraudster, I won't reveal my own device. So you can see over here in real time, we tell you that, hey, I was pretending to run Chrome browser on an Android, but my true operating system is actually a Mac. And this tells you that I'm actually running an emulator. And then this is the fraud score, which has been machine learned across our consortium of tens of millions of crypto and fintech consumers worldwide. And that fraud score, based on a percentile rank, maps to medium risk. If I were using a proxy or a VPN, I would have detected that as well. In this case, I'm not. And finally, from a behavior perspective, we tell you that I'm a high-risk customer as well. The reason being that, as you noticed, as I was typing all the information, I hesitated, I deleted a lot of content. So for all these long-term memory fields like name and address and social security number, which people type out of long-term memory, my score is high, meaning that I hesitated quite a bit. And as you can see, I was distracted as well. Every time I context switched, we count that. And then finally, for each of the fields that you see over here, we track whether autofill was used, did someone delete it, how many times they context switch out of the field, etc. And all these underlying low-level information are essentially going into our machine learning model, which eventually says this is a high-risk customer. Now, in our dashboard, we show you even more information. So first of all, if I go to this user that I created, John Doe, you would see the exact same information that we returned from the API. You see a little more information. You see that the social media profile for the email address that was used is tied to a different entity, Igor. So we basically, for fraud prevention, what we're doing is we're correlating the identity at telco with identity registered on social media with the bureau identity. And finally, if you upload a document KYC, then that identity as well. And the most important thing I want to show you here is, since this is a group of crypto folks, we, from a transaction monitoring perspective, we tell you by making a live call to Coinbase Analytics that, hey, this is a high risk address as well, because it was used to actually collect, collect ETH from people pretending to be Vitalik. So there are other things you can do on our dashboard. So of course, like machine learning models, they are very good at saying, don't trust this customer because this customer is risky, but they don't tell you that this customer is part of a fraud ring. So to address that, we have a rule editor, and we provide hundreds of what I would call rule typologies, both from fraud and AML perspective. And you can use these typologies to catch different types of fraud rings or to detect AML. So for instance, in this case, I'm showing you a customer that has withdrawn to 10 different crypto addresses, Coinbase Analytics has tagged at least 4 of them as high risk. And then you can, this is a no code rule editor. So even an ops analyst could use it. You can do name checks saying that the name of the bank account used to buy the crypto and the name of on the ID, they don't match, as in the distance is large between them. And you can combine all sorts of things like even this particular crypto transaction is going to go to a high risk address. Or I can now say for email, the number of social media friends associated with this email is very low. Or the name of the carrier that someone is using is a high risk carrier maybe, and so on and so forth. So now really quickly, from an AML perspective, my experience has been that AML rules lead to a lot of false positives, because traditional AML, people just look at transaction amounts and counts like in and out, but you need to really combine it with all this other info to have like a more holistic profile. Like, is this customer, on adverse media, like I have articles about this customer saying that this customer was involved in some bribery or corruption. Maybe they're withdrawing to high-risk addresses or transacting with high-risk individuals. And maybe they're using a prepaid phone number. So then you can reduce all the AML false positives that typically happen. I'll pause over here. This is the end of the demo. Would love to take questions if you have any time left, or see you in the breakout room.